Hey, everybody, this is Alex Merced, and welcome to another episode of Gnarly Data Waves presented to you by Dremio. And today we're going to have an exciting time because it's episode 49. And today we're going to be covering what's new in Dremio, new capabilities for the best Apache Iceberg Lakehouse, basically talking about the new things to expect in Dremio's release of 25.0 and sort of just how all these features kind of lend to our vision of being the ideal platform for the Apache Iceberg Lakehouse. But with no further ado, let's get into our main topic today about what's new in Dremio with new capabilities for the best Apache Iceberg Lakehouse. Today, presenting will be Mark Shainman, Principal Product Marketing Manager here at Dremio. Mark, the stage is yours.
Thank you, everybody, for attending our session today on what's new in Dremio. So I'm Mark Shainman. I specifically deal with product marketing at Dremio. So we're going to be touching base on a number of things here today around what's new. Really, we want to give you some insight into our release focus and what we're really seeing around these releases and how we're really concentrating on Iceberg. And then we're going to jump into a whole bunch of new things that are out with this release. Some key components in our Dremio Cloud, and one of the announcements we just recently made around Dremio Cloud, and then looking at ingestion and migration of Iceberg, some reliability and performance new components, looking into reflections of how we made some improvements around reflections, some new integrated observability capabilities, some new SQL functions, some upgrades in security, and then how you can actually get started. So when it comes to this release, what we're really concentrating on and bringing to the market is enabling our customers the fastest path to Iceberg Lakehouse. We really believe there's a huge benefit for organizations moving into Iceberg, and we're really doubling down on offering the fastest path to an Iceberg Lakehouse. So in this release, we really concentrated on delivering improvements and capabilities in moving to an Iceberg Lakehouse around data ingestion, data processing, data optimization, and observability. So some of these capabilities are across any Lakehouse environment. We really concentrated on enabling organizations to rapidly and easily get to Iceberg Lakehouses and really get the benefits, really accelerating that path to get to an Iceberg data lakehouse. So why are we so concentrated on Iceberg and Iceberg Data Lakehouse? And what really is Iceberg, if you're not aware of it? Iceberg is really an open table format for enterprise data lakes. And it's this open source, open table format. And it really enables high performance query capability on the data lake. And it really enables that kind of analytical, high performance data insight on massive data sets that exist within your data lake environment. And it's really that idea of bringing that true data warehouse functionality onto the data lake. And it has capabilities such as ACID transactions, time travel capabilities, and enables schema evolutions and a whole bunch of great things we really believe our customers in their data lake environments can benefit from. It also has key capabilities that bring easy data operations that really enable organizations to decrease the overall cost and overhead associated with managing an analytical environment within their data lake. And it really brings to the table a large open source community. That's why we're fully behind the Iceberg and the Iceberg open standard. You know, we're seeing tons of companies such as Expedia, Netflix, Airbnb, LinkedIn, Apple, all behind the Iceberg standard. So now let's jump into some of the new things around Dremio Cloud. So what we just announced is now available in GA. Dremio Cloud is available on Microsoft Azure. So a number of months ago, we announced the public preview of Dremio Cloud, our fully managed service on Azure, and now it is a GA solution. So organizations can get huge benefits from leveraging the power of Dremio in this fully managed environment within Microsoft Azure. So Azure, the solution Dremio Cloud in Azure really brings to the table a lot of benefits for organizations who are looking to leverage not just Dremio, but also have an overall data lake solution in a cloud environment. So with Dremio Cloud and Microsoft Azure, we bring to the table always having the latest functionality is always in Dremio Cloud. There's no management overhead. So all those upgrades, software upgrades, dealing with security patches, even dealing with things such as backups are all done by us in that fully managed environment. There's always that automatic scalability. So organizations who are leveraging Dremio Cloud within Azure don't have to worry about the scale. It automatically scales based on the users and concurrency of the use within the platform. And that, we bring to the table also robust capacity-based pricing. So organizations can map the usage of their data lake environment to the pricing and pay for what they specifically use. So huge benefits. And one of our big announcements is now that Dremio Cloud, which for a while has been available in AWS, is now fully available in Microsoft Azure. So we've had some specific improvements in our cloud solution as well. So one of the key things is dealing with the maintenance and management of data within that environment. So we've now eliminated tedious data management and automated vacuum and cleanup for Iceberg on AWS and Azure. So for that cloud environment, that is now a key component that we brought to the table. So organizations don't have to deal with that space management or cleanup. It's all automated under the table. And then we've also improved some of the flexibility when it comes to access control. So organizations previously, if they had an IAM role or an access key that was mapped to a project within the Dremio Cloud, if they made any changes to their IAM or access keys, they had to actually have a new project. And now we give the flexibility when it comes around security. So any organization can edit their IAM role or access key and map that specifically to an existing project within their Dremio Cloud environment. So what we're really doing with some of these cloud-specific updates is really automating and simplifying the maintenance process that organizations have when dealing with their data lake within their cloud environment. So the overall benefit of that Dremio Cloud in that SaaS environment is really bringing to the table, reducing management overhead, automating processes, and then, of course, that key benefit of Dremio of driving business insight through analytics in the mass amounts of data that organizations have within their data lakes. And to continue with that theme of accelerated my path of migration into an Iceberg Lakehouse, we've done some major things and some big improvements around data ingestion and migration into Iceberg to make it as easy and rapid as possible. One of the things we've done is we've certified a Kafka connector that is in the hands of the Apache Foundation and should be out with the next release of Iceberg to really enable near real-time streaming of data into Iceberg. And so what organizations can do is leverage their existing Kafka environment, and this connector reads the events off of the Kafka topic and writes them into Iceberg tables. And what this really enables organizations who are adopting Iceberg Lakehouses to do is really enable them to leverage that real-time streaming data into their Iceberg Lakehouse for more real-time or right-time analytics. So we're trying to make it as easy and as rapid as possible for organizations to get data into their Iceberg Lakehouse and get that business value and that data insight and business insight from their data. And of course, as I mentioned, that should be out. We've certified it already, the connector, and it should be out when the Apache Foundation releases the next version of Iceberg. So we continue with that same theme to make it faster and easier to migrate into Iceberg. Organizations on existing Parquet, JSON, or CSV files. And what we've done is improved our copy into command. So there's multiple ways organizations can leverage that copy into command. The latest one, copy into and skip file, which enables organizations to, if there's an error in their loading files into these Parquet, JSON, and CSV files, it'll actually skip that one file, and you can go back after the fact and figure out what was wrong with the data in that file, and it won't stop the process. So overall, what we're trying to do is make it easy and as rapid as possible for organizations to move from their existing data lake environment and implement a new Iceberg Lakehouse and take advantage of all the goodness that I mentioned earlier that Iceberg brings to the table for organizations in analyzing data, really bringing that warehouse functionality to the data lake and enabling organizations who are leveraging Dremio to implement a true lakehouse environment with Iceberg. So there's really a two-step process and a little bit of housekeeping for organizations to easily migrate from their existing legacy environment to a new modern table format, that Iceberg table format. So the first step is simply just to create a table using your create table format in Dremio. And then the second step is just using the copy data into Iceberg using the copy into commands. And we have a number of those commands. And then it's just simply to optimize the tables using the optimized table format. And that just makes sure that all the files are in the right size to optimize for performance. And then you just use the cleanup command using a vacuum catalog. As easy as that. So it really gives organizations an easy and rapid way to move from what they have now in their existing environment to move to this modern Iceberg environment and get all the benefits that Iceberg and the Iceberg table format brings to organizations and their analytical environment. So what we've really done is try to build a framework which makes it very easy for organizations to ingest and optimize data into their Iceberg Lakehouse. As I mentioned earlier, we have this continue ingestion capability that we've brought to the table, so you can automatically write from Kafka topics into Iceberg. And then, of course, event-driven pipelines, so organizations can automatically ingest from Amazon S3, ADLS, GCS in the future, and bring that data into an Iceberg environment. Of course, then we bring to the table the ability to optimize the tables, dealing with compacting small files and grouping similar rows to optimize for performance, and also the housekeeping capabilities that I talked about earlier. Garbage collection, automatically removing unused data files, manifest files, etc. Really doing all that background cleanup capabilities. So what we really have tried to do is bring to the table a full capability that's ingest and optimization for organizations who want to leverage Iceberg within their data lake environments as their key lakehouse capabilities, and bring to the table, really the ease of implementing an Iceberg lakehouse and making it easier than ever before. So some of the key capabilities we've also brought to the table and what's new in Dremio is some business critical reliability and performance capabilities as well. So what we've done is we've brought to the table some improvements and enhancements in dynamic memory management. So what we've done is really enabled organizations to leverage Dremio to support queries at massive scale. And what we've done is, with this new memory management capabilities, it really eliminates out-of-memory failures. And what it does is it says, okay, I'm looking at what's going on within my environment, and if I'm going to run out of memory within Dremio, I will dynamically spill data to disk to make sure that there's no problems and you get an out-of-memory area. And what this really brings to the table is robustness and durability when it comes to queries and query performance. So you can execute huge queries on large data sets, and you're not going to run into problems of running out of memory. And this really means that organizations can be assured that few to no queries will fail when they're actually executing at massive scales within their lakehouse environments, their Dremio lakehouse environments. And this is really just part of our overall theme of bringing business critical analytical workload reliability, stability, and consistency to lakehouse environments and to Dremio. One of the other things that we've also is new and we brought to the table is spillable hash joins. So what this means is when executing a hash join, in many cases, there's the first phase of a hash join is you create the hash table within memory. And if that hash table is actually larger than your memory, it would actually fail that hash join process. But now we've actually brought to the table the ability to actually support extremely large hash join processes with the ability to actually spill that hash table to disk when that hash table exceeds the memory limitations of the environment that you're working with. And what this truly brings to the table is organizations can execute massively large hash join processes and these very, very complex join processes within their environment, and it eliminates hash join failures when memory is limited within a Dremio environment. So the overall theme is really improving the reliability of queries within the Dremio environment. And in this case, with spillable hash joins, we're improving join reliability and scalability within the Dremio environment as well. So now on to query acceleration with Dremio Reflections. So what we've brought to the table now and this new capability is really smarter, more cost-effective reflection refresh. So now with this capability, we actually do incremental refresh across complex queries. So what this really enables organizations to do is just incrementally refresh that query acceleration capability that Reflections brings to their Lakehouse environment. So being able to do that sub-second query response times that Reflections brings to organizations. And then when it comes to the actual refresh of that, when the base tables actually change underneath it, it just allows for smart incremental refresh of that reflection. And then we also have brought the capability of easily scheduling reflection refresh as well. So you can now schedule it as all days at a specific set time and refresh the reflections within your environment, which you specify which reflections, or you can set different days of the week at a set time as well, and actually schedule when your reflections are refreshed. So for example, if you have heavy users and heavy workloads during the day, but late at night, you might have a minimal amount of work on the system, you can actually schedule your reflections refresh at that specific time, and it'll refresh those optimized relational cache that's used for query acceleration. So what we've also brought in this capability is smarter and streamlined capabilities to bypass unchanged tables. So the system is also smart enough to know that, oh, well, I've scheduled a refresh on a reflection, but that base table has not actually changed. So I'm actually just going to bypass the process of refreshing that reflection because I know that that underlying data has not changed and there's no need to refresh the reflection. So what we're bringing to the table is continued market-leading query performance for these analytical workloads and made it really overall easier to manage this query acceleration within Dremio environments. So one of the other things that which is also new, is granular access to governance within Reflections. So if you have fine-grained access on the underlying tables, so row or column underlying table grain access, and that is now brought up into and was supported in the reflection as well. So we now bring that row and column access control into the reflection. So if you actually have that granular governance on those base tables, that granular governance will be reflected in the reflection as well. So you can create a reflection on tables that have row and column access control, and that will then be traveled over and reflected within the reflection as well. And so organizations are assured that they can accelerate their queries with reflections within their environment and then still at the same time have that govern capability of having that row and column access control that initiated on the base tables is reflected in the reflection as well. So it's just the improving the overall governance process and across both the query acceleration and in the base tables within the Dremio Lakehouse environment. So now touching base on integrated observability. So one of the other new capabilities that we brought to the table is integrated observability. And this is to improve the overall administration and monitoring of the Dremio environment. So some of the key things that now we bring to the table with this integrated observability is really out-of-the-box metrics for jobs and catalogs that exist within the Dremio environment. So it's very easy now through this observability capability to see the most active users, queried data sets, queried spaces and what folders are being hit, and then actually monitor within the environment the fluctuation in how many queries are actually executing, which queries are the most resource intensive within the environment, and then also looking at what queries are the longest running. And this really enables administrators to more easily optimize the Dremio environment. And then, of course, we've also done some work to make it easier for administrators to integrate with existing monitoring tools. So we've done testing and proven support for integration like products like Splunk or Datadog within their Dremio environment. So it makes it the overall observability of the Dremio environment and the administration easier. So since we're out of the box presenting both these metrics, as well as making it easier for these third-party tools to integrate with Dremio. So we've also brought to the table a number of expanded SQL functions that improve the overall analytical capabilities of Dremio. So the comprehensive SQL coverage, we just keep improving and growing what types of capabilities we have and covering. And some of the new SQL functions one is a lay overlap, and that really just compares two arrays and sees of one element and it is in common. So it will look at, let's say you're looking at two columns and it'll say, oh yeah, those specific elements are in common and give you a yes answer. And then, of course, window framing capabilities, both cumulative and sliding window framing capabilities. And cumulative would compute rolling values from a beginning window, a beginning column, and to the current row, from the current row, and then the end of the window as well. So it gives that cumulative window framing capability in the SQL coverage for analytics. And then, of course, the sliding window framing capability is one of the other ones that we're bringing to the table. And it just computes those rolling values between any two rows in a window relative to that current row as well. So we've also done some security improvements. And one of the big things that we've actually done is we've actually integrated with a secret management solution. So we've brought in the capability to integrate with HashiCorp and Vault Secrets Management integration. And it really ensures, you have a secure and audible and restricted access to secrets, those secrets being, such as passwords. So HashiCorp would have all the passwords for maybe all the other systems, and then there'd be maybe a master password that Dremio would actually leverage. And so it really enables the overall Dremio environment to be more secure, and security is easier to manage since we integrate with HashiCorp for secrets management. So how do you actually get started? So to get all these great capabilities of this latest release, if you're a current Dremio software customer, visit Dremio support portal to download it. If you're a current Dremio Cloud customer, it's live. As I mentioned earlier, one of the great benefits of Dremio Cloud is that you don't have to worry about any of the upgrades. It is live. As soon as we come out with these releases, we upgrade them within the cloud environment, and you're able to leverage all of those great features that I just talked about. If you're new to Dremio, try it for free using Dremio Cloud or the Community Edition for Dremio software. So thank you very much, and take advantage of all these great new features that we brought to Dremio.
And now what we're going to be doing is doing Q&A. So if you have any questions about any of the cool new features that you see that Dremio has to bring you additional stability, better unified access to Iceberg, and so many more things, please put them in the Q&A box now so we can send those over to Mark. And yeah, so we'll be getting into that. Mark, is there anything that you would like to mention as we begin kick off Q&A?
No, I just think that it's a great release with a lot of functionality, what we bring to the cloud and to our on-prem and hybrid cloud customers. It's just really excited about this release and everything it brought to the table.
And if you want to learn more about this release, data lakehouses, table formats, is there any really cool events that they should be attending coming up real soon?
You mean subsurface?
That's it. That's right.
That's it,
Subsurface.
Alex.
That's right. So everyone watching, like, you want to hear more about this, please. In a couple of weeks, we're gonna have the Subsurface conference, May 2nd and May 3rd. The May 2nd date will actually be live in New York if you want to attend live. And again, we're basically anyone who attends gets a free copy of Apache Iceberg, the definitive guide, the final, not the early release, the final actual manuscript. So if you're there physically, we will be actually doing a book signing with physical books at the New York location. If you watch virtually, you will get mailed a PDF of that final result. So do register if you haven't registered yet. But we're going to be talking a lot more about Dremio 25 and Dremio Beyond at that location, at that event, among many other really great Lakehouse topics. And then yeah, there's also some really crazy stuff going on. But Mark, is there any really favorite bits about Dremio 25 that really kind of in particular make you extra excited?
Well, I think that one, just the how we've accelerated the ability for organizations to rapidly get to Iceberg. I mean, there's so many benefits that especially organizations who are on legacy table formats. And I know that Alex has some great talks on explaining table formats and what the legacy are and moving to Iceberg, and just the ability for companies to get off of those legacy table formats and really take advantage of a next generation table format and all the benefits that it brings to the table. And of course, I'm always very, very excited about Dremio Cloud, because Dremio Cloud really enables organizations to very rapidly and easily get up in a cloud environment and implement a data lake and all the goodness and benefits that Dremio Cloud, now available in Azure, brings to companies that are leveraging Azure as their cloud platform. So I think those are some of the two that popped to my mind right away.
100%. And but yeah, so basically, bottom line, we definitely invite you all to get hands-on with Dremio if you haven't before. So again, you can get hands-on by using our software edition. You can spin it up in a Docker container on your laptop, or you can go sign up for Dremio Cloud, which is free, and you get up and running in a few minutes. All you have to do is connect to your cloud, whether that's AWS or Azure. So really, it's never been an easier time to use Dremio. It's never been an easier time to get to the data lakehouse, especially with like Apache Iceberg. And I really appreciate you, Mark, coming to here today to tell us all these really cool innovations coming in the Dremio world, and so many more to come.
Well, thank you, Alex.
Thank you. I'll see you all next time. And make sure to register for Subsurface, everybody. Dremio.com/subsurface.